Hi, I'm Shannon.
And I'm Taylor.
And you're listening to Nefarious. We are two 911 night shift dispatchers that decided to give our perspective on cases and events that happen before and after the emergency call. We cope with difficult situations, calls, and life with dark humor. We mean no disrespect. Our intentions are always to research and present information correctly and truthfully.
Warning: the audio you're about to hear is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
One location of your emergency.
Yeah, 246 Clydesdale Lane.
In Springfield?
Lybescale.
You're in Springfield?
Yeah, Springfield, Tennessee. It's right behind Oakland Farms.
Okay, what's going on?
All right, this is what's happened. I've been married 12 years. On the 4th, which would have been 2 nights ago at 4 a.m., I shot my wife in the temple of her head. I thought I killed her. And I put her in the freezer out in the garage. When I checked on her tonight, and she's not dead. She's got a big hole in the temple of her head. And to get her body moved around in there, I think I broke her wrist. You know, she was frozen from being in the thing. She's been in this thing 48 hours now. And this is no prank call. I need somebody to get out there and help her. I've cleared the premises. I've got away. You know, I'm not going to be there. But I promise you this is a legit call, and I need somebody to get out there and help her, because I still love her. It's hard to believe that after that, you know, but, you know, I need to get somebody out there to help her.
Okay, what happened that caused you to do that?
It's a long story. Don't want to get into it. Just want to get into getting somebody out there to help her. I left the front door open. I left all the lights on in the house, so it would be kind of easy to spot. It's the last house on the right on Clydesdale Lane. But I left the front door open, and she's in the garage. You go through the kitchen to get into the garage. And you'll see her once you get in the garage. And she's a mess. She can't talk. I could get her to blink. Blink once means yes. Blink twice means no. And, so I told her I'm going to go around the road 10, 15 miles. I'm going to call 911 and get you some help out here. I thought she'd been dead 2 days, and when I checked on her, she was still alive. She's been frozen for 2 days. She's frozen solid. It's amazing she's still alive. She's got a big hole in the temple of her head. I shot her with a .38 caliber handgun, and there's a big hole in the temple of her head. I didn't see an exit wound.
What is her name?
Samantha Parker.
Is she a white female?
Yes.
How old is she?
43 years old.
And how long ago did you leave there?
An hour ago.
And that's the last time you saw her?
Yes, that's the last time I saw her.
And she was still in the garage?
Yes, she's still in the garage. I made her as comfortable as I could make her. She tried to drink a little water. She couldn't talk, couldn't move her jaw. She's in bad shape. Really need to get somebody out there to help her.
And the address is 246 Clydesdale Lane?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is your name?
My name is Joe. I'll just leave it at that. Don't want to get arrested tonight and all that. So we don't have a history of domestic disputes. We've never had to call the police or nothing. We just had a real bad night a couple of nights ago. And I was waving the gun around. Got myself in trouble. So, anyway, really need somebody to get out there and help her.
Okay, we'll send somebody out there to her.
Yeah, I mean, it's like urgent. I think she's dying. She got a big hole where the temple of your head is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So please, I love her. I still love her. I've loved her every day I've been married to her. We just had a rough stretch here. So anyway, I checked on her and she's still alive. And now I want to get her somebody to help her that knows what they're doing. And I got to stay out of trouble too. So.
Okay, we'll send somebody out there.
What was your first name?
I'm not going to give you my name, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Hey, make a note on there. I left the front door open and all the lights are on. And you go to the garage, you can't yell for you. You can't yell. But you go to the garage, and that's where you'll see her once you get to the garage.
Okay. We'll send somebody out there.
If she needs, paramedics, she needs everything. She needs an ambulance. She needs trauma. She's trauma. She's a trauma patient. She might need a helicopter. So please get somebody to her.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go through the call a little bit. So the first thing that struck me was how calm he was. Like from a 911 perspective, this is abnormally calm. Mm-hmm. Granted, he's had 2 days to, I guess, come to grips with what's happened. But how many calls have you taken that's been this level that is that calm?
It's just very odd that he was like, I love her. I need her to get help. She might need a helicopter, medics, or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh.
Okay. Yeah, because he's like, it's very urgent. Like, first of all, he says...
2 days ago, baby.
He says, this is not a prank. Well, okay. Mm-hmm. And then he says, this is urgent. It was urgent 2 days ago when you shot her, sir.
Right.
She has now had a bullet wound for 2 days, if she is alive.
In her temple. And
she's been in a freezer for 2 days. So, are we going into the trauma side of it for the gunshot wound? Are we going into the hypothermia issue because she's been in a freezer for 2 days? Because he's saying that she's alive.
That's a good point.
And that she's blinking to communicate. Mm-hmm. So, at this point, as a dispatcher, like, what are you doing to EMD this call?
My thing is, I don't know where I would go from this. I would probably be like, she did a good job. She was like, what's your name? What's her name? Mm-hmm. Like, where was it or something?
Yeah,
like that?
why did you do this? He didn't want to get into it, but she at least tried to get the why did you do this?
Not that it justifies it, but still, like,
right.
It's just, I don't know. I can't, it's those calls that, like, you hear and you just can't imagine ever getting, and, like, you can Monday morning quarterback it, mm-hmm. But, like, I mean, I think she did a good job with letting him basically, I hate to say, like, tell on himself, but that's basically what it was.
Yeah, definitely.
She just, like, took a step back and was just, like, documenting everything he said because you could hear her typing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I mean, from her perspective, she did great. She got all the pertinent information that she needed to be able to send help.
Good dispatch.
But yeah, very good dispatch. But from, like, our side of it, you just think, you know, I always listen to calls as if I was taking the call.
Right.
And it's not one that you and I have taken, thankfully. But just to be like, she did, because I think I, and maybe you, would have been like, I'm sorry, you shot her 2 days ago and she's still alive. Like, there was none of that.
Yeah.
This would definitely be one that would have been clicking our fingers and being like, click in.
Go.
All right. So.
But it's very odd. It is for sure odd.
It is very odd. So this call came in on Friday, November 7th of 2014. Joseph Parker from Springfield, Tennessee, had called in to report this. Officers arrived on scene around 3:30 a.m. and they found Samantha Parker partially dismembered inside a freezer in the garage. So he made the comment that he made her as comfortable as he possibly could in the freezer. I don't know what that means. And also there was mention of her being partially dismembered in the reports. He mentioned that he broke her wrist.
Yeah,
like
I heard that part.
Yeah, that was in the call. It doesn't actually say any of the sources that I found what the rest of partially dismembered means. So we're not really sure what state she was in when she was found. Obviously, she was deceased and had been prior to that call. When officers arrived on scene, she had...
she was gone.
She had long since been dead. So
wow.
he mentioned that she was blinking once for yes or twice for no, or vice versa. They said that they did not know how long she had been dead, but she was dead when they arrived on scene. So I'm not sure if he had some kind of mental break that made him imagine that
right.
she was blinking for him. I don't know what you do when you, because he says he loves her. It was also referenced
I don't doubt people love the people that they kill, but I don't think, like, I don't know. Well, maybe not. I shouldn't say it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say it like that.
One source mentioned that the 2 days prior when he shot her was their anniversary, but I could not verify that. So I'm not sure if she was killed on their anniversary or not. The Robertson County Emergency Services Assistant Director said that there was no possibility of her being alive at all. It said...
because he said she had like a big old temple in her head or something.
Oh, wait. A big hole in her temple,
Yeah.
And it says in the full transcript, Joseph told the dispatcher that Samantha Park couldn't talk, but she could blink with her eyes once for yes and twice for no. I'm not sure why he thought she was communicating that way, but they did say that there was no way that was happening just prior to that call. Like, she'd been there for a while. So Springfield Police Detective Madison Burnett said, I don't know if we're going to be able to determine when he killed her exactly. They confirmed that Samantha Parker had been shot in the head and said that he wasn't sure where she was killed.
With a, what?
Where?
I was about to say with a .38 caliber,
yeah,
but...
she was killed with a .38 caliber, I'm assuming handgun. But she had been shot in the head. He said that he wasn't sure where she was killed. I'm not sure at this point whether we'll be able to determine how long she had been in the freezer. He added they were not able to tell where the body was shot. The detectives said the house was extremely clean. You're going to love this.
Oh.
One quote reads, it was immaculate. Not a speck of dust. Completely spotless. It was real estate clean.
Wow.
So I don't know if he spent 2 days cleaning, if she was just this clean of a person
Yeah.
and he just cleaned up the crime scene itself. But based on what I read, they couldn't even tell where in the house he initially shot her.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he had cleaned for, I guess, the 48 hours while she was just chilling in the freezer.
That's hell of a term. Oh, my God.
So officers got on scene around 3:30. At around 3:45, dispatch, I'm assuming based on the request of the officers, called him back to see where he was. And he said he was on the interstate headed
He answered the phone.
He answered the phone. Yeah. He was on the interstate headed to Chattanooga to visit friends, was all he would say. And according to the Springfield police report, Parker's cell phone was pinged in Nashville that morning. So he said he was headed to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Phone pinged in Nashville. Mm-hmm. They,
Is
of
that
course,
nearby?
It's not extremely far, but it wasn't in like the direction he was going.
Okay.
Warrants were issued around noon that same day because obviously they have a suspect. He's admitted to it on a recorded line. And at this time, the Tennessee State Bureau of Investigations and the U.S. Marshal Service were called in because this was a high-profile case. And he was quickly added to Tennessee's top 10 most wanted list.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so everyone was sent. A BOL was sent out to, I guess, probably in that area and extended areas.
What was his wife's name?
Samantha.
Oh.
Samantha Parker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Samantha.
I know, not Samantha. BOL was sent out, and he was described as a white male in his mid-40s, 6 foot tall, around 200 pounds, possibly driving a white 2007 Toyota Camry with Tennessee license plate 682 November Hotel Foxtrot. He was being looked for by everyone, obviously, because once a BOL goes out, like we give it out to our officers.
Absolutely.
So every agency that received this was looking for this vehicle.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and he was also being pursued by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations and the U.S. Marshal Service, as well as local officials from Tennessee and Kentucky. One source also said that Nashville Metro Police set up a command center at Rivergate Toyota. That's where he was reported to have worked. Yeah, they were searching for him there. According to officers on the scene, Parker threatened to come to the dealership to, quote, kill multiple people. According to sources, Parker previously worked as a salesperson at this dealership. So it was later reported that he had recently lost his job and their house had gone into foreclosure.
Oh, like prior to the murder?
Yeah. So he said they had a bad night. There's no way to link, like no one else was there
Right.
to know what happened that night.
Happy anniversary.
It would be, right?
so
Imagine
sad.
anniversary, he lost his job, house is in foreclosure.
Right. That's so
Everything's kind of going south. It was also said that he was described as the family's primary source of income.
I was about to ask, what'd she do?
Yeah, she worked apparently in a store, like a convenience store.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it was part-time, full-time, or what it was, but we get into that a little bit later. It can be speculated that this was the cause of the quote-unquote rough patch that he referenced in the 911 call. So once they set up the command post at the Rivergate Toyota dealership, there was also a helicopter that was flying overhead.
No, air emblem.
Air emblem.
Air emblem.
The other thing about that call, let me just go back for a second, is I love the fact that the person that inflicted this damage is now dispatching this call.
When he was doing it?
Yeah, he's like...
I was thinking the same thing. When he was like, she might need a helicopter. What did he say?
He said she needs paramedics.
Yeah.
She needs an ambulance. He might even need a helicopter.
That is such a caller though. If it's not anything.
And the other part that really got me with the call was he started off with when the dispatcher was like, "Okay, what's going on?" He's like, "My wife and I have been married for 12 years. How many calls have you taken where you're like, what's your emergency?" And they're like, "So 6 years ago, blah 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 happened." Like
they start out with their like life story and stuff,
absolutely
like, life stories,
and you're really wanting to get into what's happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he starts off with that, and then he basically tells the dispatcher like, "This is a trauma call. She's a trauma patient.
Thank you for dispatching my call, sir." What is going on?
Can you just not shoot people so that this is easier for me?
Everybody, well, not everybody. Like a lot of people do that. They'll be like, almost like they talk about the call as if you're there and talking to them.
Yeah.
They're like, this is what it is. Like, can you, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, they're like, I'm saying it like a lot. You know what I mean?
Fine.
But you get what I mean. Like, they're saying, it's a trauma call. And I'm like, you haven't told me anything at all.
Okay, so trauma, check. Got that.
Cool.
What's the rest of the details?
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he really did go into that. And, again, I don't know what it's like to have a dead body in your house for 2 days. Thankfully, my life has not made not made that hard of a turn yet. But just imagine, like, one, we know that he cleaned the house because they can't even tell where in the house the gunshot wound took place.
Did he really clean it, or is that just?
Well, I mean, there's going to be something with shooting her with a .38 caliber. There was no exit wound. He even said that he didn't see an exit wound, and I haven't seen in any of the research that there was one. So maybe he just cleaned and then just, I guess, tried to go on with life for 48 hours. I'm not even sure how that works.
We don't know what he did for 48 hours.
No, there's no account for those 48 hours as to what took place between him shooting her on, I believe, sources have said that she was shot on the 4th. This call took place on the 7th, but it was like 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. So whenever he says 2 days, it could have been like early morning hours of the 5th.
Right.
Or however he referenced that. He just said 2 days. And obviously he's not.
You don't know when they got married? Just
I
out
don't.
Of curiosity.
I was not able to find their anniversary date. I did go in and look at like the Social Security death index and stuff and try to figure out records and stuff, but I could not find a marriage license.
Gotcha.
All right. So they had set up the command post at Rivergate Toyota where he formerly worked because he had made threats to come and quote unquote kill multiple people. Mm-hmm. Possibly because he had recently lost his job there and that led to house in foreclosure, like huge financial issues that I'm sure had him stressed.
Did he make those threats on 911 or just like to someone else?
They just said that officers received reports that he had threatened that. So it did not actually say. Yeah. So it didn't actually say where those threats came from. The helicopter that flew over Rivergate Toyota dealership, between them and then Metro Nashville Police Department, they ended up spotting his car, that Toyota Camry, around 3:24 p.m. same day. So this is all on November 7th of 2014. And they began to track him, but they did not initiate a pursuit because one, he's believed to be armed, obviously. And I'm not sure what, in cities, sometimes the pursuit policy is a little different. So I don't know if they had a no pursuit policy, right. But for some reason they did not actually actively initiate pursuit.
I was going to say, was he actually running or were they just like stalking him? Not stalking him, but like
tracking him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were also pinging his phone because they knew that his phone was pinging in Nashville when he said he was on his way to Chattanooga.
Awesome.
So around 4:19 p.m., Tennessee State Police and Kentucky State Police were able to get behind Parker on the 10-mile marker on Interstate 65 North inside Kentucky. So he had made it to Kentucky at this point. He drove his vehicle to the 12.6-mile mark, pulled over to the shoulder, and ended up shooting himself in the head.
No shit.
He did. So obviously he was armed.
Right.
He had said on the call that he did not want to get arrested that night. Mm-hmm. It was later that day that they found him. And he just decided that he did not want to face the consequences of his actions.
I mean, I hate that he killed himself, but I'm also, like, super happy that he didn't, like, endanger officers and other civilians and things.
Absolutely. We don't know what his mindset was.
So he was on the way to Kentucky. Was that, like, far... Did he say he was on the way to Nashville? Yeah, he had left Springfield, Tennessee, and said that he was going to... Chattanooga. He was going to visit friends in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Right. And they ended up spotting him. It was the Nashville Metro Police Department, so I'm not sure exactly how close that is to the Kentucky border. Right. But reports said that they actually spotted him in Kentucky on Interstate 65, I think it was. And then they got him to the 12.6-mile marker, and that's where his vehicle pulled over. I guess they initiated a traffic stop. I'm sure a felony stop, because obviously he's on their top 10 most wanted list. And he ended up killing himself, which spared the family trial and all that fun stuff. So we get into Samantha a little bit. So her obituary says that she worked at Baker's Market for several years, where she greeted people in the mornings as they stopped for breakfast before they went to work. Aww. She was an outgoing person who never met a stranger. I love those kind of people. We're not those people. No, we're not. But I love people that are like that. She loved and enjoyed taking care of people. She loved Alabama football. Oh, God. Yeah. So special. We love her for that. Special place in my heart for that. She also liked Tennessee Titans football for NFL. Going to Panama City Beach. Her grandchildren. Aww. Going shopping. Music. Playing softball. And just spending time with those that she loved. That's bad. I mean, she's well loved. She's well liked by the community, by her family. Do you know how old she was?
She was 44.
Damn.
He said on the call that she's 43, but every other report that I've seen says that she was 44 years old. He was 45.
So young. Both lives. I mean, one more important than the other, but...
Absolutely.
I hate to say it like that, but
No, but like she did nothing to deserve this. I don't know what that conversation was or what the rough patch was that they hit. But obviously, even after the fact, like he admitted that he loved her. possibly. Mental health and then stress of losing your job. Right. Your house is in foreclosure. I saw pictures of their house online. It's a beautiful house. Beautiful house on the outside. Very nicely decorated. Very nice lawn. Like, beautiful area. And, I mean, they had raised children together. The children were not home at the time, of course.
Their kids were grown?
Yeah. So it said they've been married for 12 years. Mm-hmm. And it's the daughter that is referenced here, it says her parents. So I don't know if they had a child in common prior to the marriage, or if he just took on her kid or she took on his kid, but she references them as her parents.
Aww.
Yeah, and definitely seems like a very loving, like neighbors had said that he was kind of quiet and kept to himself, but like a very good person. And she was described the same, like great couple.
We love Samantha. Fuck him.
Yeah. So a year after this murder, it's when the daughter actually spoke out, and she did
her daughter.
Their daughter.
Her daughter. Okay.
She references both. I get it.
I mean, I get it, but
so a year after the murders, they did a memorial service for both of them because, of course, they died. Like, she was pronounced on the 7th, and then he committed suicide on the 7th. So their date of death is the same.
Oh wow, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so the daughter is quoted as saying, "Today I find myself missing both of them equally."
Aww. Yeah, I mean, I say that. I say fuck him, but like, I mean, that is her dad at the end of the day.
Yeah, her entire world was rocked. Yeah.
For sure. She lost both parental figures.
Of course.
At the exact same time. I can't imagine. God forbid.
Yeah, she said, "Today I find myself missing both of them equally. A lot of people have asked me why I'm not angry." In reference to her parents, she says, "They showed me what I would like to have in a marriage someday."
What? Well.
Yeah. Like, maybe right up to the very end.
Well, I would...
We don't know how the first 12 years went. That last day was rough.
Maybe she knew something we didn't, because that quote right there, I would have been like, oh.
She says, "It was a very bad night, and I think he just snapped." Like, she shows...
whatever.
She shows understanding for his actions.
Sure.
And, I mean... She lost both parents on the same day. I can't even imagine. Another family member says, "To have the forgiveness in your heart and peace, you know that she was raised by good parents."
Sure.
I mean, maybe.
Absolutely.
I'm not that person.
God, good for her. That's all I can really say. It was like, I mean, I can't...
I'm, just like we said before, I'm not that person.
Don't put her... I'm trying to think of, like, don't put yourself into it, but... Dang, man. I mean, I guess that is... I mean, if that's her dad and that's her mom or whatever, that's her mom and daddy. Like... But your daddy still killed your mama. Like, I don't know.
Violently. And put her in a
freezer.
freezer.
2 days. It's not... Like, okay, like she said, like, I don't know what happened that night or whatever it was. Like, he had an act of passion or whatever it may have been. She put him in the freezer, dog.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know.
And for what it's worth, like, her autopsy report, I could not find any record of it.
What?
To learn if she died from the gunshot wound itself.
Had to, right?
Or if she died from hypothermia, from being put in a freezer.
Right.
They also did a toxicology report on him, and those have never been released.
Do you know if he had any, like, mental health issues before?
Not that has been referenced anywhere in this case. And obviously with him killing himself, like, we didn't have the full trial, so we're missing a lot of those details. But, yeah, the toxicology report on him and the autopsy on her had not, to my knowledge, have not been released as of yet.
That's insane. Like, I hate that. I mean, like, I hate that for their kids, but if they learn to live with it, I guess. I mean, who am I? But
I'm just always amazed in these cases at people's ability to forgive.
The grace of it. Like,
absolutely. I am not that person.
It's hard to say, like, we're not that person, but, like, we've forgiven a lot, but not murder.
Not murder.
Not murder.
Everybody has their limits.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, go her for sure. Like, that's a different... That's a type of heart, like, I wish I could say I had, but...
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she knew more than we understand, but...
Maybe. But, I mean, like, she'd grown up, I'm assuming, with both of them, because she refers to them as her parents. She also said that it's by the grace of God that she's able to forgive, and the memories and the moments are what you hold on to the most.
Aww.
Like, it's a great outlook, because I can't even imagine, like, living with that anger long term. And this is only a year.
Is she the only child?
The only one that was referenced in everything I researched.
Okay.
Yeah. So, on the 1-year anniversary of both of their deaths, I want to say Samantha's death, because she was the victim in this. they had released crimson and white balloons.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm here for it.
In memory or in honor
Roll
of her
Tide.
and her love of Alabama football. And as they released those balloons, that's what they shouted was "Roll Tide, roll."
Ah,
So
this is why you picked this case.
Absolutely.
You're stupid.
It's absolutely like we had a rough week in football. Give me this.
For records, they lost to, what is it,
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. Did not see that coming. We beat Georgia and we lose to Vanderbilt. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
But, you know, I mean, Samantha seems like a very upstanding person. She's absolutely beautiful. All the pictures I've seen, she is just that southern.
From what you said, she was very like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Like
yeah, like that southern mom. Like she just loved everybody. I can just imagine that she's just outgoing. And you know me, like I meet a fan and I'm like, Roll Tide. Like what me and a jailer used to do all the time. So yeah, you just have that camaraderie, that friendship. She seemed like a really great person, and I really hate that this happened to her.
She sounds awesome. That is very sad.
It is.
But, I mean, if her daughter is able to forgive it, maybe there's more than meets the eye, maybe?
Yeah, I mean...
Or maybe she's just got such heart or mind that she realizes more about to the mental health of her father, if that's who he is, I assume. That's, you know, that's pitiful for Samantha because she had such a long life ahead of her.
She did.
Ahead of her, rather.
Yeah, she's only 44 years old. He's only 45. Like, they were, like, kind of midlife, maybe, but so much life. And she enjoyed her family so much.
Did you really think that he broke just because of financial burdens or whatever you said?
I have no idea.
I mean, I can't.
That is the only thing that the daughter came up with is that they, you know, that he had lost his job at a car dealership, and I'm sure that, you know, that's not guaranteed money anyway. Like that's based on commission.
That's not the end of the fucking world either.
It's not. There are plenty of jobs, even in 2014. Like there are plenty of jobs out there now.
Oh yeah, this was in 2014.
Would they have been able to live the life they currently had? I don't know. Like I don't know what's available in Springfield, Tennessee.
But, like,
in that time.
also like 2014 was a different type of like price range, if you will. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It was. We hadn't gone into like a lot of the stuff that we deal with today, but also like there are jobs everywhere today, and maybe that wasn't the case in 2014.
I don't know. And honestly, maybe like the slightest things made him snap. Not justifying it at fucking all, but still, like that's pitiful. Like I hate that like her life. I mean his life, and eventually, but like her life specifically was taken from her so early.
It was.
And it's so sad.
It was.
She's an Alabama fan. That's me.
Roll Tide.
Oh, God.
We love her for that alone. Especially being in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Do you know? There's a grace there. She didn't have to live to see Tennessee beat Alabama a few years later.
God.
So, small victories.
Stop. No, she does sound like an awesome person. And that's very sad that
she does.
It was taken from her so easily and so quickly, and by someone I assume she put her life into.
Of course, they've been married for 12 years, which is decent length of marriage.
Yeah, I mean, you would trust someone and feel comfortable with them, and then
definitely
for them to like one day just all of a sudden like shoot you in your temple, as he said. Mm-hmm. That's so sad.
It is.
So, fuck him.
Fuck him. So, we hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode of Nefarious, and we look forward to you joining us next time with our next case.
Okay, love you, bye.